The crime or not crime happens much later in the night, much later. The only reason we're going to be critiquing her mind state or what she expected is only to set the tone for where the thing happens later, which is either a crime or not a crime, okay? So if I sound like I'm being hard on her, it's because I am the father of daughters, okay? I'm serious. This is not me trying to victim shame or anything like that. I am responsible for 3 little girls who are going to look like their mom when they're older, and this is going to happen. They are going to be faced with identical situations to this, and it is important that I drill these kinds of things into their heads so that they do not find themselves in bad spots. Now, she made a lot of mistakes, and that's why I am going to be laying it out the way that I do. But again, that does not mean it's not a crime when you get to the actual portion of the video that matters. Now, it's rare that I'll tell you that in the middle of a video recording that there is a twist that is going to literally blow your brain apart. Now, I will probably timestamp the twist in this, actually I will for sure. I'll timestamp the twist. But if you want to experience this and really have your mind blown, watch the whole video. And just watch all the way up to when the twist hits. Because, oh my God, this changed every single part of this story completely. Completely. So, watch the first half or whatever it is where I'm, going through her entire story. And then the twist hits. And then things change immensely. This is like a M. Night Shyamalan movie. Enjoy. All right, so unless you've been living under a rock, if you're in the MMA community, you've already seen the allegations that have been levied against Alex Pereira. And I realize that a lot of people are just seeing little clips of what this girl said. Or, as a matter of fact, if you were going to listen to how she has explained what happened in like 1 or 2 sentences, very serious allegation. And the thing is I watched her entire story, front to back, 20 some odd minutes of her describing exactly what happened at UFC 302. Here's the thing. I believe every single word of it. I think she's telling the truth. The thing is that is what makes this case not very cut and dry at all, actually. So what we're going to do together is we're going to go through her entire video as much as we can. And I guess I'll have to trim it down a little bit because it's going to be way too long. But we're going to go through the important parts of the facts that she lays out. And we're going to listen and then analyze exactly what happened here because it seems pretty clear what happened here from my perspective. And the most important criteria that we're going to set out in the beginning is that what does not matter is when she says, I felt this way, if she did not directly communicate it or did not, behave in a manner that represented that. Okay. Now, I'm not telling you that I have a conclusion here yet. I mean, I do, but I'm not saying what it is in the front side. I know that you have a massive communication problem and we're going to get into all that, but that's just what the criteria is. So we're going to get into it. Now, this video is so long that what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out any pauses that she has or any information that is completely irrelevant as it relates to things. I'm not going to trim out a single thing that's factually accurate or even anything she says about how she feels because that is important to how you analyze this. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Now, all the time people say this, but in this case, I really am going to ask if you watch my content, please subscribe. It takes 1 second. You click the button. I know a lot of people that are in my demographic that watch my stuff don't generally subscribe to channels, but I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference for me, and I would really appreciate it if you guys would do that. Now, also really quick, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Yo Kratom. If you're a Kratom user, you use daily, they have $60 kilograms, all the different strains, gets to your house in 2 days. As I'm telling you, the shipping is as reliable as Amazon. YoKratom.com, $60 kilograms, check them out. And now, as a last note, before we get into this, I just want to state up front, I have 3 daughters. This topic is not a game to me. Being a UFC fan in no way makes it to where I'm going to lean towards, I just believe Alex Pereira, then he says blah, 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 blah. I do believe this girl, and that's not the end of the story at all.
Alex's assistant, translator, best friend, whoever he was, his name is Mel, asks my friend if she wants to meet up with him in New Jersey when she goes to the fight. He also says that Alex is wondering if she has a friend for him. I know it sounds stupid and unbelievable because I couldn't believe it myself. Why is this guy asking a 20-year-old girl to put him on with one of her friends when he's a 30-year-old, however, father who should be able to just talk to a woman his age at the fight? It was planned out on purpose because he does this all the time.
Now, again, I do not want to sound like I am slanted against her because I'm not. But when a girl says something like that, where it's like, why would they, like, it's weird that he wants to like have her bring a friend, right? And like a 20-year-old, like 20 years old, and he's like in his 30s, like whatever. You're like, 20 years old is not a minor. 20 years old is like complete grown up. You know, you're way past grown up, right? And also, if he said, can you bring a friend? Are you unclear about that? He doesn't know you. Okay. Like he doesn't know he literally has no idea who you are. He asked a girl who was going to meet up with his manager if she could bring a friend for him. What do you like? So right out of the gate, you understand that you're walking into a situation where it's like, oh, you know, we'll hang out. And then if it works, you know, if it's cool, then it's cool. I mean, like, obviously, right? And again, that doesn't get into whether there's, you know, inappropriate behavior later, but that is obviously exactly what the understanding was on her side and on his side.
My friend sends Mel, the assistant and the translator, whoever he was, he never really gave us an explanation who he was. She sends him my Instagram. Mel shows Alex my Instagram. Apparently, the only thing he said was Chama. I'll try and find the text proof where my friend was telling me this, which is disgusting now that I know what his intent was. We go to New Jersey.
Okay, the only reason that I roll my eyes is for a very specific reason, okay? Later on in her story, she explains that this kind of thing has happened to her before. If this was the very first time that she had ever been out with a guy or ended up in a hotel room, so on, so forth, etc., I would give her a lot more leeway than I am willing to do right here. Now, bottom line, whatever her expectations were, it makes no difference once she's actually in a hotel room with the guy. If she decides she doesn't want to do this, then she has the right to not do it and not get forced into it, of course. But if this has happened to you before, then when you say, oh, when then he said Chama about my picture, which is disgusting now that I know what his intentions were, don't play that. Don't do it. If your story is like, yeah, I was down to hook up with a famous UFC fighter, but then when I met him, he didn't speak English, he's huge and he's terrifying, and I changed my mind, that is a much better way to go about this if that's the truth. But when you say, oh, I had no idea what his intentions were, that's a lie. That's just not true. You wish that was true, but it's not true. You and I both know that. Okay, this is exactly what I would say to my daughter if she was sitting right next to me and watching this with me.
Elle hits up my friend, invites us both to a private training at a gym called Cruise MMA, where Alex is training. We're the only women in there except for this older woman who's married to one of the people that's also sparring. I'm hoping I can find security footage. My friend spars with him. Him and Mel take me and my friend outside of the gym that we were in after the training session. He comes on to me, goes behind me, looks at my ass, and approves to his translator, which is also disgusting now that I know what his intent was. Like I was cattle or something. Mind you, this man doesn't speak any English. I don't know what he's saying the entire time. His translator is translating for me everything he's saying and everything I'm saying.
This is where the entire issue starts and probably finishes, okay? So I didn't want to say this in advance. I wanted to wait until you got to a situation like this so I can lay this out. And I want you guys to seriously try to put yourself in her position and also put yourself in Alex's position, okay? So first, on her side, this whole song and dance, if she had no idea what he wanted and, oh my God, I didn't know what his intentions were. I understand why she's doing it, okay? Because she's trying to set the stage for innocent me. I didn't do anything wrong, and then I got forced into this thing later. Okay, I get it. That's a nice way of framing it. It's not true. It's not true. But given that she at this point had clearly changed her mind by the time that it ended up happening, I understand why she's doing it. But it's not true, just for the record. Okay, like she understood what she's doing there. He walks around, looks at her ass, gives an approval. She knows what's going on. That said, she didn't really probably understand that he really doesn't speak English. Okay, it's one thing to like go hang out with a famous fighter who's super hot and he's like, you know, he's a superstar. And you're like, yeah, dude, I'll give that guy a run. But it's a completely different thing when you actually are there and it's Alex Pereira. He's a terrifying looking dude, man. He is absolutely terrifying to look at. And he literally speaks no English. He's got the face of stone, and she's probably scared of him. Wouldn't you be? In her situation, I'd be terrified of him, dude. I would literally be terrified of that guy. The reason he's so popular as a fighter is because you could see he's got a demon inside of him, dude. You know what I mean? Like, he is a dark character. And so if I'm some 21-year-old girl who went there kind of like, ooh, exciting, fighter. Oh, he thinks I have a nice ass. Cool. That's a lot different than standing in front of Alex Pereira knowing, like, Jesus, like, this guy's just as likely to kill me as have sex with me, and I can't even talk to him to find out if he's nice, right? Now, that's on her side. That doesn't mean that Alex is actually a dark character or whatever. So on Alex's side, he's a superstar athlete. Like she says, he does this all the time. And so, he asks Mel to hook him up with, some groupie that'll come and then, hook up with him while he's in town. You think that this is some kind of like shocking, unexpected behavior from celebrity athletes? So on his side, he also can't talk to her, okay? It works both ways. He can't talk to her. So all he has to go on is like kind of body language, and he knows she knew the deal when she got there. So it's that this is where the crux of the entire thing is they cannot communicate. Okay? They can't communicate at all. So let's continue.
He tries to kiss me outside of Crew's MMA gym. I grab his face and I push him away. I will try to find security footage from a building around.
You don't need it. I believe you 100%. As far as I'm concerned, I believe every part of this factual story.
If possible. We leave the training. They then invite us to
There's nothing wrong with a guy trying to kiss a girl, by the way.
A meeting or something that was outside where they were signing stuff, I guess. I don't know. But we turned it down because it was outside and it was super hot, and we had already done our makeup and gotten ready for the UFC fight that night. So they then invite us to dinner before the UFC fight. We were going to go out, according to them, but he sends us an address, and our Uber takes us to a very nice hotel where Alex is staying, and a bunch of, I guess, UFC fighters are also there.
Fighter hotel, obviously.
His assistant and translator, Mel, brings us into this fancy...
This is really important also, because do you think that if Alex and Mel were setting up to violently assault girls, that they would have them come and meet up at Fighter Hotel in front of the entire organization? Of course not. So if we're going to talk about, his intentions and her understanding and intentions, you have to look at it both ways, right? Obviously, he did not have intention of doing anything violent here. And, again, I do understand. I really do understand her position, right? But let's continue.
Hotel. I can find security footage proof of this also.
Don't need it.
And it's just a bunch of UFC people sitting in a circle, and Alex looks up at us, looks angry as fuck, and tells his assistant Mel to take us out of the hotel. And everyone is looking at us who are these girls? Why are they here? I don't know either. I'm just there because they asked us to. I didn't realize they were bad people. He makes us leave the hotel. And
ridiculous.
He brings us to the Courtyard Marriott across the street from it. They have 2 hotel rooms that they have already bought for that night, which is disgusting. It was all planned out. They take us to the Courtyard Marriott.
Because your groupie friend set this up. Okay?
Across the street from the actual hotel that Alex is staying at. We go to the restaurant in the lobby of the Courtyard Marriott. I can find security footage proof of this also.
I believe it already.
They buy us a flatbread pizza, and then they ask, Mel is asking all of this. Alex doesn't speak any English. He's just translating. Mel asks us how old we are. I said, I'm 21. My friend says that she's 20 years old, not old enough to drink alcohol. So he talks to Alex, tells him how old we say we are, and then they buy us, I think, 2 glasses of wine.
Okay, again, this is the kind of thing where I start going, man, and you got to keep in mind, if this is your first time hearing this, my tone probably might seem off base to you, but I've seen it all, and I'm just saying, I have an opinion on this, one way or the other. But look, this whole thing of she's 20 years old and he bought her wine. Like, you guys are not 12 years old, dude. You know, like, that whole thing is like, it's all I'm saying is this a person who would frame something like they are victims if they are not? Because that entire line about they bought us wine is not appropriate. You know, it's like, come on, dude. Like, so just say you don't want to drink. You know what I mean? Just say you don't want to drink. Bottom line, you're not babies.
So, mind you, they're buying alcohol for a 20-year-old girl that is not old enough to drink alcohol, and this is on security footage. Didn't make me sign an NDA before he did any of this. Like, just did it because he does this all the time, probably.
Again, what you're describing him doing all the time, there's nothing wrong with what you're describing so far. Okay? Again, that's why I was saying it's really important to understand the difference between facts and her feelings. Okay? Because, like, meeting up with fans, having alcohol with them, if they're 20 years old, okay, it's just say, I don't want to drink. It's their responsibility, okay? They're from Brazil. They bought you a glass of wine to say, hey, I'm 20. No one forced the wine down your throat. If you're 16, it's a different conversation.
It was so routine and planned out. They're giving us drinks. Alex won't get off of me. I'm not into it because I don't know this man. I don't like being touched if I am not, like, if I don't know you and I'm not comfortable with you. Even if you're my family member, I just don't like being touched.
I completely understand this part. Like, she is in a bad situation, for sure. She is absolutely in a bad situation here because she's 21. She's playing wingman to her friend. And again, if you don't understand why it would be uncomfortable to sign up for what she thinks she's signing up for and then suddenly be faced with 6'5" Alex Pereira, who speaks no English whatsoever and is trying to hook up with her, and she's like, she feels trapped in the situation. I mean, like, you have to understand, whether you're on his side or her side or whatever, you have to understand why she's like afraid and not, you know, stoked about the situation. Where I don't give her any quarter is on the idea that she didn't understand what was going on, and then also the fact that she could have literally walked out of this situation at any point during this entire story.
I'm starting to get tipsy and I feel sick because I don't do well when I drink. But I'm trying to calm my nerves. He won't get off of me. He keeps asking me to go to the bathroom with him, or he's asking Mel, and Mel is telling me this. So I guess this is how he gets away with it, because he didn't technically, well, no, because he did it. He just technically didn't say any of it to my face. He said it through his translator, and his translator said it to my face. But his translator wasn't the one who assaulted me.
Okay, so again, framing-wise, this is how he always gets away with it. Gets away with what are you accusing him of in this situation? Because if she is constantly accusing him of things that are absolutely not crimes at all, that does seem relevant to later. He gets away with what? Asking you to go to the bathroom with him? Like, if you go to the bathroom with him and you don't understand what that is, then I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me of that, because you already said this has happened to me before, so you already know what is happening. But, like, you don't understand what I'm saying? The framing of gets away with it is totally out of place here. He didn't do anything wrong. He asked you to go to a bathroom with him. Guys go and hook up with girls in the bathroom all the time. And if you don't want to do it, you just say no. You know what I mean? And if he's asking too many times and you're really uncomfortable, you leave.
He's telling his translator to ask me to go to the bathroom with him. I'm telling him no, because I don't do that. I get uncomfortable and nervous. And as much as you guys think that I'm this, like, whore, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on TikTok.
No, that's fine. That is completely fine that you don't feel comfortable and don't want to go to the bathroom with him, of course.
As much as you guys think these things about me just because of the line of work that I do, I just do what I have to do to make ends meet. That has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, hang on. So that I heard her say last night, and I actually forgot to look up what she does. So I imagine a lot of you guys probably skip straight here, but I encourage you to watch the whole video, because she lays out every single part of her story, minute by minute, what they did. Now, what I found at this point is that she has an OnlyFans, and it's not just like a naked OnlyFans. She is doing straight up, you know, she is doing all that stuff on camera. Okay. Now, first of all, that makes a huge difference as it relates to Alex Pereira's expectations of them hanging out. First of all. Okay. Bottom line. So when we go back over this entire thing, I probably have to re-record the whole thing. If you go back and listen to every single thing that I said about how she framed this, now you have to understand that Alex Pereira had looked up this girl, and on her OnlyFans, she is getting pulverized. Okay. Very important part too is where she's getting pulverized, because when she starts talking about what Alex did, I was like, man, she said she's not sure what she's allowed to say on TikTok, whatever. We're going to get to that part. But here's the biggest part that I cannot overstate. Okay. On her X, where she is promoting her own stuff, right? Like, it's like, oh, okay, here, yes, I have an OnlyFans. Okay. There's one specific one that I saw. I mean, how about this? I'll just show you this because, okay. Just to put in perspective, all right, this kind of thing right there, okay? I love you while getting choked. That's not the craziest one. When we go down here, I just want to look and then see if there's any scenario where I can show this to you. There's not, okay? But what you're going to look at when you go to her account, and I can't link to it, but I will tell you what the account is under. Her handle is where is it? It is at MERE_BARE at MERE_BARE. Okay. And one of the posts that she has that she put up August 28th, 2023, 1 year ago, is her with a guy who does not speak English, who is forcing himself down the, okay, like, and she posted that on her own X account. So when we get to this part, I'm actually skipping everything else. Now we're getting straight to what she said happened with Alex Pereira. And keep in mind, we're not just talking about a girl who does this on camera. We're talking about a girl who put on her own X account, her having it forced into her mouth by a dude who does not speak English. Okay? So now let's get back to her story with a completely new view on the world. Because now I am going to seriously struggle giving her the benefit of the doubt, given that she literally advertised that this is what she's into. Okay. Now, does she have the ability to say no? Of course. Of course she could say no. So say no and leave. Okay. Say no and leave. So let's just get into the rest of it. So we're skipping forward to 2 or 3 in the morning because the rest of this is totally irrelevant except for the fact that they're still hanging out at 2 or 3 in the morning after all the stuff that we laid out, which again, I highly encourage you to go listen to. Okay? If you just skip straight to 20 minutes, definitely listen to the rest of this so you can understand the entire setup. But here we go. It's 2 or 3 in the morning and they are in a hotel room together. Okay? And again, this is a professional sex worker who puts videos of herself being like violently, taken. I don't know. I'm trying to really talk around this. This is not like a girl where it's not just like an OnlyFans where she shows like herself in a G-string. It's her like, she posted a video of a dude just, and she's like, she posted that. Okay, let's continue. Like
2 or 3 in the morning. Eventually, Alex comes to the hotel room after the interview that he was at, and he says that he doesn't want to go out. He wants to enjoy the time that he has with the people he's with. Some bullshit like that. And then he takes off his clothes, gets into bed, orders food, and then is trying to get me to get into bed with him. My friend and me and the translator are all sitting on the couch, and he's just sitting in bed staring at me and telling his translator to tell me things and trying to convince me to get into bed with him. I eventually get into bed with him because I was naive, I guess. I didn't think that anything was going to happen.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Oh, you're naive, huh? You Miss Naivete, dude. I'm so naive to this kind of thing, you know? I'm just really, really naive to this kind of thing. You're like, hey, have you ever gotten pounded on video? Oh yeah, no, like 5 times a week by like multiple guys. Oh yeah. You ever taken it top shelf? What do you mean? Like not in the main hole, but in the other one. Oh, of course I do. Okay, cool. And so again, you do this professionally. Yeah. And you just didn't know what was going to happen when you hopped into bed with him. This is a person where you know for sure has looked at all your videos. Okay, he's looked at all your videos. He knows who you are. It's on your social media. Okay, and you're like, oh gosh, I had no idea what his intentions were. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
My friend was there with me. I had told her not to leave me at any point. She had told me not to leave her with the assistant at any point. I thought that we were going to be fine. I thought I was going to be able to maybe try and get myself comfortable by getting into bed with him and cuddling with him if there was people in the room. I just have problems of my own. I have trauma. This is not the first time that this has happened to me. It's just naive, I guess. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I got into bed with him.
You were thinking like you either don't have a brain or that you were going to say that this happened so you could promote your OnlyFans. Okay, there's only 2 options here. Either you are retarded or you're doing this to promote the OnlyFans. It doesn't mean you have to do something if you don't want to. But this naive act is out the window after what I just saw, okay? Don't play little old me didn't know what was happening. I just watched a dude shove a pole down your throat and in every other part of your body. And then another one, and then another one, and then another one. Oh, geez, I had no idea. Give me a break, dude. The video that I saw is like an exact enactment of what she describes in this story. She posted it on her own. Okay.
My friend was there. So was the assistant. I thought I was going to be fine. He starts touching me down there repeatedly. I keep pushing him off. I keep pushing his hand off. I keep bringing his hand back up to like my waist.
So leave. If you don't like it, then leave. Okay? You are a sex worker and you're in bed with a professional athlete who has 100% made his intentions crystal clear with you all day long, all night long. There cannot be the, I don't know what's happening. If you don't like it, then you can leave. It is as simple as that. I am literally putting this stuff up in real time. As I'm recording this, look at this, dude. This is what this girl just got exposed as in a DM. Nice fake allegations. Hope your failed OnlyFans career produced enough money for your defense lawyers. She laughs, says, the money I'm making from all the exposure to my OnlyFans will pay well for them. Dude. This is insanity. This is insanity. This makes me honestly not even want to go through the rest of this story because it's like I don't want to platform her lies. Like I don't believe her at all. But we've gotten this far, so let's just finish it up.
With him, I didn't know that this was going to happen. I'm pushing him off of me. He won't get off. He eventually pulls my underwear and my pants down to around like halfway on my thighs, and I push him off again. He gets out of bed. He starts screaming and putting his socks and his clothes on. I'm terrified because I don't know what's happening. My pants are around my legs after I told him no and pushed him off, and he's screaming in another language. Me and my friend are looking at each other, hiding under the blankets, like about to start bawling our eyes out. And he starts telling his translator that he doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him and my friend, and that he wants them to leave.
Okay, so again, to be crystal clear, dude, if this story's true, then it's not like she has to do. It's not like she has to do this because Alex wants to sleep with her and like she should have known. Like that actually does not play. Like, she doesn't have to do it. But at this point, I mean, you have to be joking. Like at this point, you have to be joking. He has made absolutely crystal clear what he wants. You have this whole naive act. Yeah, right. I didn't believe you before I knew that this is what you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for work. I was saying, like, come on, you knew what he was into. Now he got you into bed with him. You know he knows what you do for a living. I didn't know what was gonna happen. Now he's telling his friend to get out of the room, and now it's just gonna be you and him. And then the rest of this story is gonna be that he graped you, but you let it happen. But it was grape.
His translator and my friend leave the hotel room. His translator and my friend leave the hotel room. He immediately starts trying to take my clothes off. He starts trying to take my socks off. I try to tell him no because I have blisters on my feet from walking around New York in heels for like 10 hours the night before, and I had band-aids on my blisters and they were going to get ripped off with my socks. I tried to explain to him, don't take my socks off, please. He didn't understand that. So at that point, I'm like, okay, fuck. I'm in a room with a huge man that doesn't speak English. He's not understanding what I'm saying. He doesn't give a fuck because I pushed him off so many times, and he doesn't care. And he like got up and screamed and scared me into staying in the room with him. And
okay, again, and I just want to reiterate this. Like, regardless of what she does for a living, he's scary. For sure, he's scary. He is terrifying. But you can't communicate with him. You've known this for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. You know what he wants. Like, you can't put yourself in that position. And then at this point, she's like, and then I just realized I should just let him do it. And then be like, oh gosh, like, I just let him do it. And you know what's really funny? Actually, I'll let her get to it. But when she describes how it happened, which has to do with him going top shelf, not the place where babies come out, but the other one, the way she described it, I was like, damn, I'm like, this girl's inexperienced. How was she able to do that? Like, it's a girl who is like not super used to that, cannot do what she's describing. Right. And it's like, oh, because she does that all the time. Like, this is like standard procedure for her.
Making his assistant and my friend leave the room. At this point, I know what's happening. I've been through this before. I know that it's just easiest if I just shut my mouth, do what I have to, put on whatever performance that I have to make it end.
I really feel like I hear myself talking, and I feel as if I really need to stress, you have to go watch this post right here from August 28th, 2023 to understand why my tone is what it is. Okay? Because, oh my God, I have such trauma, and you're posting this. This could be us right now. You could be taking it from me. I like that. Let's continue.
He puts me on top of him so that I don't know how much of the
blah, blah, blah. They're in a 69 position is what she's going to say.
ass. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not. Everybody's asking for an explanation, so here it is. This is literally just the truth. It's disgusting and embarrassing, and I've tried to make this video so many times, and I keep crying, and I just feel disgusting and humiliated.
Okay, so they're in a 69 position, and he goes for the top shelf. Not where babies come out, the other one. And she says he's doing it really, really hard, and he's doing it really, really hard, and then she says he's basically fisting that. Okay? He's fisting that. And I was like, and that's where I was like, how is that? Okay, anybody who's familiar with, the top shelf experience, you can't just like fist, like the fist don't go there, bruh. No matter how much, how much warming up you do. If it's a girl who is not wildly experienced with that. And I was like, weird. Like, is he some kind of freak or whatever? And now we know that it's because he's seen a million videos of her doing exactly that, right? That's why his expectations were what they were. And again, I'm not saying that she had to do it if she didn't want to. She had a million ways she could have left. And you know what really changed my opinion in a big way is this right here. You know what I mean? This right here. The money I'm making from all the exposure to my OnlyFans will pay well for them. She should go to jail for that, dude. Straight up. She should go to jail for that. Honestly, I've made a decision. I'm not going to play the rest of her story because I don't want to platform the more graphic part of her story where she has all but admitted that it's not really true, that is what happened. But like her, You know, like this is happening. Like that's why I was saying, like from the beginning, I sounded like I was being hard on her because she said a million times, she's like, this has happened to me before. So I'm like, geez, so why are you walking yourself into situations like this again? Little did I know when she said, this has happened to me before, what she meant was, I literally do this for a living and this happens all the time because it's how I make money and I'm doing this to promote my OnlyFans. This is wild, dude. So, yeah, I would say take the story with a grain of salt. If you want to go watch her entire story, I'll link to the post, and that's what we got, dude. Love you guys. Bye-bye.